Every performer who steps onto the stage of Starlight Express carries a story, a journey of music, movement, challenge, and unforgettable moments. Welcome to Voices of Starlight. Before we begin, I'd like to welcome you to Voices of Starlight. This series is a collection of conversations with the artists who helped bring this extraordinary musical, Starlight Express, to life on stages around the world. These interviews are intentionally shared in a very simple and unpolished way. There's very little editing, because what matters most is the authenticity of the conversations, the memories, the reflections, and the humanity behind the stories. In this episode, I had the great pleasure of speaking with Reva Rice, whose journey in Starlight Express has spanned decades, from performing Pearl on Broadway to now returning to the Starlight world as Mama in the legendary Bochum production. Before we begin the interview, I'd like to acknowledge the community that makes these conversations possible. Voices of Starlight is presented and supported by the Living Strong community. I'm deeply grateful to all our members and especially our premier members whose support allows projects like this to continue and grow. Let's take a moment to hear from our sponsor.
Living strong is just a tap.
If you love community and connecting with people who want to grow, encourage one another, and live strong mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and physically, I created a place for that. Welcome to the Living Strong community. This is our community wall where members share reflections, encouragement, ideas, and what they're doing to live strong in their daily lives. Inside the classroom, I share lessons, tools, and frameworks from the Living Strong method, things you can actually do and practice in your everyday life as you live strong. Now, if this speaks to you, on screen there's a link and a QR code, or you can just click the link in the description of this video or in the comments below. We'll see you there. Remember, living strong is just a tap away.
Living strong.
And now please enjoy my conversation with Reva Rice. So Reva, let's start at the very beginning of the story. How did you first hear about the audition for Starlight Express, and what was going on in your life at that time?
The first notification of Starlight was in London. I was getting the, oh Lord, what's the name of the periodical? Because that's the only way you could find about
Backstage?
Auditions. Backstage, thank you. Mm-hmm. And at that time, I think I was engaged and maybe running my dance school at that time. I'd have to line up those dates. You know, as I get older, things start to mesh together. Mm-hmm. But the first notification was through Backstage. I saw it at Backstage. And so I just haphazardly sent my resume, which I really didn't have one other than my, school credits from Boston Conservatory and, teaching things, but nothing really in performing other than when I was a little kid doing regional stuff. And I didn't hear anything about it. And so about 2 years later, it was coming to America, coming to Broadway. Mm-hmm. And when I saw that, I was like, I'm going to do that show. And by that time, I had already gotten the skating bug, which I got the skating bug back when I was a little ice skating and stuff. That's a whole nother story. But I immediately... found out how everything was, because I'd never really done anything substantial in theater. I had gone to a couple of auditions that took me to regional theater and stuff like that, but this was, before the Broadway days. So the first audition was a union audition, equity audition at the Equity House. And I guess I probably won't get into trouble now since it's been a long time, but I had to get into the audition, and I was already a skating fanatic. And so I asked a friend's friend of a friend to let me borrow her equity card to go into the audition.
Mm-hmm.
So, and back in those days, it was you walk up to the third floor.
Right.
And then you went to the studios. And
this is the equity building.
Exactly.
Yeah, Actors Equity, yeah.
So I flashed my little card and I kind of walked in
Mm-hmm.
and went into the studio where Lon Hoyt, I'll never forget Lon Hoyt. He was my first, person ever accompanied me at a Broadway audition. And that morning I ran down to Colony Records to get the music to Object of My Desire by Atlantic Starr. Just something I had been singing in the car, through my college days, driving back and forth from Boston to Toledo. And I went in there, and it was Vinny Liff, we called him Vinny Liff, and Sarah Rubin were at the table. And I did my little song, and I wasn't a singer. I was a dancer who happened to really love roller skating. And I sang a little bit, little things, but not, I wouldn't walk into an audition saying, yeah, I'm a singer. So, but I had to roller skate. I loved roller skating. I became this fanatic about it, And so after I sang, Vinny Liff says to me, because at that time they were casting Black and Blue. They were casting Dream Girls or Replacements or something. There were some other projects that I would have been good for. And it didn't click on him why he had never seen me before, because they were the biggest casting agency at that time. And they pretty much knew all the equity people, And he says, are you equity? And I said, no. And I just walked up to the table. I said, listen, if you like the way I sing, I skate 20 times better. And I had my skates on my shoulder. And I went to go back to put my skates on. He says, no, you can't put your skates on now, insurance things and all that kind of stuff. He says, he says, so how'd you get in here? And I said, friend did me a favor and yada, yada, yada. I told him, I was honest. He says, well, sometimes you have to find the loopholes and jump through them. He says, we'll see you for the callback. I said, okay. I walked out and I said, I guess a callback means I'm going to, be seen again. And Broderick, I forgot Broderick's name. He ended up doing Starlight as well. He says, you're going to get this show. And he didn't even know me. Second audition was pretty much the same with Tara and Vinny, and they were still doing cuts and things. And I think it was the third callback where we had to put the skates on. First time I had met Arlene and Dion and who else? I think Michael Fraley. I'm not quite sure. Because I think we weren't really doing skate. They were kind of seeing people how they could move. Anyway, at that time, I had been offered from Troika, and Troika is very important later on in the story, to do Can with Cheetah Rivera. It was it was a national tour, but it wasn't an equity tour. And I had gotten a course offer for that. And so by this time, Vinny had seen me 3 times. And so the first combination in the first group, I made it through. Of course, I did my thing because I'd been skating forever and I just rolled on off. And mind you, sometimes it would take a good, 30, 40, 50 seconds for people just to get out on the floor on the skates. Because people just, everybody just didn't skate,
Yep.
So while the other people were auditioning, I rolled around the table and said to Vinny, I said, listen, I got this other contract. Is there any idea of whether they're considering me for anything? I'll hand out programs. I don't care. And so he's like, he's asking me about what it is and is it equity? And Arlene has her back. She's leaning against the table and we're talking back here. And she turns around and she goes, because, Arlene is... She's an amazing woman. Anyway, well, that's a whole nother story.
Yes, it is.
She turns around. She goes, oh, Reva. And I have to do it in her accent anyway. Oh, Reva, don't sign a thing. You could be Pearl, you could be Ashley. Okay. Okay, next group. Here we go. I was like, all right then. Made it through that audition. Fourth audition, we come back, and that's when they had given me Only You.
Mm-hmm.
And Dion was there, and I sang it. And after I got finished, he says, that was really lovely, but take out all the Sarah Vaughan when you come back tomorrow. I said, okay.
Take out the Sarah Vaughan, okay.
Yeah, yeah. No, I don't even, I knew who Sarah Vaughan was, but, I'm not a singer, so I'm not, that doesn't register with me. I'm kind of like, okay.
Well, I have to stop you because and I don't mind me interrupting, but I'd love to. There's two things that I wanted. First of all, when Arlene said, "Don't sign it," now in that moment, did you just say to yourself, "You know what? I am not going to sign this. I'm going to go ahead and see this through"?
Well, yeah, it didn't really register. I just knew that I was not going to sign it that day.
Mm-hmm. Gotcha.
And you know what I mean? I wasn't thinking that far ahead.
Right, yeah.
Because I literally that day was going to sign.
Uh-huh.
So at least
but you didn't know that in that moment.
Right. But I probably figured if he had said right at that moment, well, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I would have gone and probably signed the other contract.
I got you. And then with this, what blows my mind, because obviously I know you starting when I first saw you in Starlight as Pearl, and hearing your voice, phenomenal. And then I also knew of you through Kevin Brooks, my good friend Kevin Brooks. And he would say, "Oh yeah, I know Reva. I think you guys had worked together, or something like that. You knew each other from before." And then so when I saw you, so to hear you say that you really wasn't a singer, that blows my mind. So I could hear Dion McHugh, I think. So everyone, those that are listening, Dion McHugh.
Yes,
I worked with him. Yeah, I worked with him in Germany, and to hear him say, to leave out the Sarah Vaughan, I can see it. But then you still thinking that you're not a singer, you're a skater. So, real quickly, how did you see yourself back then, as a dancer?
Oh, definitely. I mean, I graduated from Boston Conservatory as a dancer with the pedagogy certificate, or whatever they call it.
Gotcha. So where did the voice? I mean.
Yeah, well, that's a whole Arlene story, to be honest with you.
Oh my gosh! I'm sorry that I interrupted you, but I had to ask those two things.
Yeah, it's Arlene was a big contributor to that, and take out the Sarah Vaughan, sing what's on the page. They don't know my melodies; they know Andrew's.
Yeah, gotcha.
And that was kind of, not that was verbatim said to me.
Mm-hmm.
But as I'm working with these people, including Andrew, and sitting at the piano with Make Up My Heart, and he tested another song that went into Phantom. We were sitting at the table because he put a new thing. And that's a whole nother thing with the exchange with the equities between myself and, I think it was Michael Crawford. It might have been Sarah Brightman. I don't know. We'd have to look that up again because my memory is. But
amazing.
That's why Starlight has such a place in my heart. And and why I'm glad I did it for so long, because it really gave me a foundation that anything after that was always premium.
Right. It's amazing. Now, but I want to go a little bit deeper into the audition process. We already started talking about that with the singing, and then going to the skating, and just going back a little bit with what was going on in your life at the time. You had the dance school, and you were you in college, or had you already?
Yeah, I'd already graduated.
Okay.
I had already ended the engagement.
Mm-hmm.
When I ended the engagement, I closed the school because I had gone up when I had sent those resumes to London.
Yes.
I had also visited up to New York and stayed. I had a uncle that lived out in Queens. Jamaica, Queens, Holliston. I can't remember, for you New Yorkers. Mm-hmm. I lived on the corner where LL Cool J used to shoot videos. I'll say that.
Okay. LL.
So I went up to these auditions that I read about in the Backstage periodical that I was getting in Toledo.
Mm-hmm.
And all three of them, I got callbacks, which at the time I didn't quite know that process. And when they said callback, what that meant. And because I would go back home the next day,
Mm-hmm.
and it's kind of like, well, you can't do that. And it might have been in the time where the school might have still been having classes and people, it was quite a kind of
Mm-hmm.
mesh time. But once I found out that I got the three callbacks within that time that I was going back and forth, I just said, I'm going to leave everything there, come up to New York and start, really being a New
Gotcha.
Yorker.
All right. So wait.
And
So you got the call. You're at the audition. You've sung. They would you say they loved you or liked you? From your perception, your memory back
well,
then.
are you talking about the last audition?
Well, when you went to Starlight, you sang and you had a call
Well,
back and
yeah, once I got past the singing, I knew I was kind of like, well, they're going to give me something. I
mm-hmm.
skate too good for them not to give me something.
Right. Did you
With
pick
this
up the
popular.
choreography right away?
Well, I did what I did. When you say choreography during the audition itself?
Yes.
Yeah, I just do what I do at the roller rink. I would go to the roller rink. Oh my God. I mean, or out to Central Park, wherever I
Mm-hmm.
was, whatever town I was in, I'd go to a parking lot and throw my skates on and put my earphones on. And I was all through college that I used to dream and say, I hope there's one day a roller skating show that I could sing, dance, and roller skate. Not that I could really sing, but I knew musicals had singing in them. And I would sing in the shower and I'd sing in the car. And I lived right down the street from the Christian Science building in those that know the Boston area, till 4 and 5 o'clock in the morning, roller skating and just kind of singing out, but not really. I'm
Mm-hmm.
skating and dancing,
Love it.
and every now and then, it's kind of like I didn't know what I sounded like really. I knew I could carry a tune, but to be a singer and get out there and really be confident about what you're singing and how you're singing and what you're singing about, I didn't have that. Now, I
Mm-hmm.
throw a song on and let me throw some moves up, I will, but I'm getting kind of off track a little bit, so you have to gear me back to
Yeah,
the.
no, it's I love it because it's really getting to the heart of this experience, and this is what I
Yeah, I
love.
knew once I could get past the singing, I
Hmm.
knew I was going to be a part of the show at some point. I never thought I was going to be Pearl.
Wow.
I
Now, when
mean,
can you take us to that moment when you learned you were cast, you had been cast, and what was that like? Did they call you? Did you just tell you at that moment and that one of your last auditions or callbacks?
yeah, the last audition, it was myself, Jane Krakowski, Lola Knox, Beth. I can't remember her name. Beth. Was her name Beth? She was a redhead.
Mm-hmm.
Who else? I thought it was 7 or 8 of us
Mm-hmm.
were called in. I guess they were looking at us for the Pearl and the Dinah and all the female characters there. And we rolled in, and I mean, this was where I got a little shook
Mm-hmm.
because for the first time, everybody was behind the table.
Mm.
I mean, there's like 20 people. All the
Wow.
producers, Lord Grades or Graves, I can't remember what exactly his name. Trevor and Dion and Arlene. I mean, everybody. And we kind of rolled in, and I was like, oh.
Now, was Andrew there as well?
Andrew was there.
Wow.
I forgot to say his
Oh
name.
my
Why would I?
gosh.
Anyway, yeah.
Forgive us,
Right.
Sir Andrew.
Right. Right. We just assume y'all know he's there,
That's
anyway.
true.
And so yeah, we all roll in. And so of course we had the couple of auditions before, we'd already, learned the choreography. So, we're expected to do the choreography and sing the songs. And so we all roll in, and so Arlene goes over to the speaker where they're going to put the music on. She goes, "Oh, Trevor, would you like to see them do the choreography?" And she goes over there, and and so Trevor goes, "No, let's just put some music on, please, and let's just let them roll around. Let me see,
Okay. And that's where you shine.
Yeah, and I just went into my zone, and just had a good time. And kind of the other girls, like a couple of them could roll a little bit, but I was giving you all my because I was training in Boston Conservatory doing attitude turns and stuff in the and that's how I learned how to do them on the skates. I don't do them traditionally, but um, but so yeah, and so everybody kind of afterwards kind of applauded. We all rolled out, and then we had to call back in by ourselves individually to sing. And so I sang Only You, and I sang every note as pure and every rhythm correctly as it was written on that page. And when I got finished, Trevor Nunn jumped up and runs around the table and hugs me. And he's like, "Where have you been? Where have you been?" And I'm thinking, "Yeah, I'm here. Let's do this."
Amazing. Wow.
And so then I went out, and I was just, I'm a very in the moment kind of person, and whatever happens after that, I'm just, okay, that's what it's supposed to be. And I'm thankful for it. And so I came out very satisfied, feeling very accomplished, like me giving up my engagement and my business and all that to come up and do this. I felt that kind of a thing, like, okay, if nothing else works out, this feeling right here, because I did the work, I was, so about a week later, I'm in a dance class at Frank Hatchett with Frank Hatchett's, not Frank Hatchett. It was at Step Studio. Frank Hatchett was the first dance. That's a whole nother story. I forgot, but and Gretchen Palmer, who told me about Frank Hatchett to go dance with. Anyway, that's a whole nother story. Anyway, I get we had pages back in those days.
Yeah, I remember them pages.
And I got a page to call Vinny. So then I called Vinny, and so Vinny goes, "Reva, I want to congratulate you and welcome you to, you've been given an offer to be a part of Starlight Express in the role of Pearl." Now, I'm trying to remember, because I had the box set of Starlight. And I knew some of the songs, but I didn't know really who the characters were or whatever. I just kind of like, oh, this is good music, and they got rock and roll and gospel in here, and and I didn't really know who Pearl was. And then I went back and checked out the cassettes, and I'm like, oh, well, Pearl is like one of the, like, she's on, it's a lot. So then I called my mother and I said, "Ma, I think I'm one of the leads in a Broadway musical." She goes, that's wonderful. Wait, do you sing? And my mother was very, she was the disciplinary in the family. She was very much about, get the work done. If you're sick and can't go to school, have the house clean. That kind of thing. And so, so she was very much happy for me, but she was kind of like, she didn't quite understand if it's a musical, how Dancing Queen, who went in disco dance, competitions, was able to do a musical. And so, so yeah, that's how I found out.
That's
and,
amazing. Wow.
Yeah, I was quite shocked. And once again, being in the moment, wasn't looking at what was ahead of me, really,
Right.
And I remember one day, I guess we were in rehearsals, but I think we were rehearsing down at, what was the studio
Minskoff?
that we were rehearsing at before we got on the set?
Was it the Minskoff Theater or?
Well, no, it was at like a sound stage or something.
Ah, okay.
I can't remember, but it was before we got to the set.
Right.
And one day I was coming back from rehearsals, and I said, "Let me just see if I can get in here and see what the set looks like." Excuse me. Peter, I went in there and I went like this.
Ah.
and almost fell back into the seat because the set was like,
Wow.
wait, I think there was still clouds up there.
Oh gosh. Well, so they had built part of the set and I guess ramps and bowls and so that you guys can start working on it, and then you got a chance to see that.
And then I was like, can I
Wow.
do this?
Wow.
Can I do this? I mean, I can skate, but I
Yeah.
mean,
Wow. You're in now. You're in the you were offered the role, Pearl, and now you're in the world of Starlight, and you're starting the rehearsal process. What was can you share with everyone the bits and pieces of the rehearsal? What was the first thing you did? Did you sing? Did you dance? Did you start doing the skating? So can you just quickly take everyone through that process from your perspective, being one of the leads? Because at this point now you know you're a lead.
well, and I really don't know what that is, though.
All right, at the moment you didn't know what that really meant.
I mean, yeah. I mean, Lee. I mean, I'm with Marianne Lamb, Kennard. All these people got 4 and 5 Broadway leads. So I'm not really able to define what that is. I'm there to absorb and learn what it is.
Right.
So, and I just remember the first thing we did, and it might not be the first, but the first thing I remember we did was we had an improv session with Trevor Nunn. And we all had to sit in a circle and come up with a cartoon character. And we all had to get out in the middle of the circle and pantomime that cartoon character and try to get everybody to guess who it was. And that was very difficult for me. I don't know. I've kind of have a bit of a sheltered personality a little bit, but can be outgoing a little bit. I don't know. But that's what I remembered. It was kind of uncomfortable, but I'm always in the moment. So it's like, that comes with being in the moment. Sometimes you get uncomfortable sometimes, but when you're absorbing, I don't really linger in that. And that's what I was doing. I was just absorbing and watching all these other people that I had the honor to work with and how are they doing it? I don't have an opinion. Don't ask me. I don't know. Not that I'm saying these things. I'm just kind of keeping a low profile because I need information. I don't live in New York City. All of them, had apartments in Manhattan, and that was their lifestyle. Whereas I'm coming from Toledo, Ohio, moving into my uncle's house in Queens, doing 2-hour commutes back and forth. So it was in the moment because I had to digest a lot of stuff. It felt like.
Yeah, I could only imagine because I know, my experience as a performer, and I've never done a lead. I've never had the honor. I've never been that kind of talent to be a quote unquote lead. I mean, now that we both know what that means to be a lead, and so, but I remember just the hard work for just all the shows that I've done. I did a lot of West Side Stories. Well, okay, no, I did leads. I've done Bernardo a lot. That was I did a lot of Bernardos, and so which is like you said, that's a whole other story. But but it was hard work, and you're in Starlight. You realize that you have a role, and it is a key role because you're around key people that have done several, a couple of Broadway shows, and now you're there on in a show that has a set that's pretty much at the time no other set like that. There's nothing like that at the time, and we're in frontier places now. And then you are this young performer, love skating, realizing, okay, I have a voice. People like my voice. Okay, I got to sing. I have to act. Now I'm doing this stuff working with Trevor. Now, did you know who Trevor Nunn was? And no, this is all you're learning. All this as a young performer. So what? So
I didn't know I had never seen a Broadway show before, and I remember going to Trevor saying, "Is there any way I can get a ticket to see Cats? Because I've never seen a Broadway show." And he goes, yeah. So he set up tickets for me to see Cats, you know. So
Wow. So
I
everything
don't know.
was
I
new.
didn't know what the Royal Shakespeare Theater or
Yeah.
Company.
Mm.
Yeah, I didn't know anything about Europe. I had never really been out of the country other than to like Canada and Jamaica and Mexico but I had never traveled,
Wow.
you know.
So you were living in the moment, and were you? Would you say now, in hindsight, that you were wide-eyed, or just, or more frazzled, or afraid, or anxious, or calm and cool, and like they have this image where there's a swan on water, but underneath the little things are going crazy. And how would you describe yourself at the time, just in hindsight, looking back on the Reva back then?
Yeah, that's a great question. And sometimes I was the swan, but sometimes I just have to come out the water and shake off the water, and get on
Mm-hmm.
land a little bit. And that's where, and it might sound crazy, I don't know, but my roller skating always brings me back to center. So, if I had a day that was, the days were long, I throw my skate, I skated to and from work. And so, well, not to and from work, but to like, if I had to go to the train station or whatever, I throw the skates
Mm-hmm.
on everywhere. And so that kind of always brought me back to center,
Mm-hmm.
you know. And I think all those things were part of the journey because there was, I did have anxiety about certain things like what Pearl's supposed to look like and
Mm-hmm.
things, trying to think. Yeah, I mean, that was quite because one thing about Reva that I didn't know what it was, but I've always been this way. There's a certain image that I like to have that
Mm-hmm.
I control. And even from a little kid, I think I've always kind of been that way. So even when it comes to, even to this day,
Mm-hmm.
we'll have to do like I don't know what you would call it, but there's certain things that I'd have to go through that anxiety and then come out of my comfort zone to say how I felt and what I thought and yada, 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 yada. I don't know if you could read between the lines. I'm trying to
I
see.
read between the lines, and I think that well, I don't want to assume. So,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
so
Well,
what I will say is that I'm speaking as a minority in an industry that the challenges that I went through as a minority, and same thing with my wife, with Renee, as a black woman in this industry. And even to this day, the challenges of us being minority and, being true to who we are in the
yeah.
context of the roles that we're playing. And so
Yeah, so
that's what I'm thinking when you're saying read between the lines. And so,
well, it wasn't as it probably was that too, but not in a way of being just not knowing.
mhm,
It comes from that place of just not knowing. And then not used to, not that I was even in a place to say, because by the time we got to that process,
mhm,
I was a bit more confident as to, okay, now I have to get on stage and do what I do.
mhm.
So that's all I'm responsible for. If I don't feel comfortable because of something over here,
Mm-hmm.
you need to fix that then so
Yeah.
I can be comfortable to do
Well,
what
let's talk about
I do.
character as an actor. You creating the character of Pearl. How did you like the back? I don't know what your process is, what it was back then. Creating the character of Pearl. How did you develop the character of Pearl so that when you went on stage, or did you, that you were Pearl, and Pearl had this background and Pearl's history where she is in that moment and what she's going through. She's trained, and everything, this character that you developed. And what was that process like for you? And I would assume, I know me as an actor, that I get a project, I get a role, and then I dig deep into the role, go through the rehearsals, uncover what I'm going to do on stage. Once I got on stage, it's continued to develop. And then as I got through a couple of weeks, usually a couple of months, I was in the role. It was happening. I had the luxury as an actor on stage doing that. Unlike when I do film work, it's very different when I do film work. I have to make sure the character has to be in that moment when they say action. And so over a few takes, it'll develop. Hopefully I do my background work before we go in front of camera. So can you share with everyone that process, developing Pearl?
Yeah, well, it has a, because like you say, it takes a minute to grow this character. And in the beginning, there were a lot more variables that were part of the construction of Pearl, due to the fact that it's a first-time show for me. This is coming from the personal level. This is a first-time show for me, so the innocence is kind of from that. There was a danger factor part of this show that really was a priority. Mm-hmm. So as well as I skated and others, the set was something that was experimental to a certain degree. So there was a sense of, when you were talking about the anxiety, that sometimes once you were in the character and this is my application, now I'm just going to go out there and roll in it. There were variables, i.e. the technology and things going on, that you had to adjust to in that moment and still maintain this calm, innocent Pearl person. Mm-hmm. So I'm saying that to say it took me a minute to totally be able to go out there and live in it, as opposed to go out there and kind of watch yourself do it, to make sure you don't make mistakes, make sure you don't get injured, make sure you hit the right note, because it's my first show. Every time I went out there, it was about this has to be better than yesterday. I mean, I need to see my growth, So I think that's part of what the process was. And the character's always a process every day. I mean, I worked with a great director where I was, oh Lord, here we go with my memory. When I did Lady of the Lake, I was the standby, and then I took over the role, and I can't remember the director, but he said to me, or said to the cast, not to me personally, but being organic is about coming in every day, bringing your day, and you make that application to the character. Mm-hmm. And I at that time didn't know that's what that meant. That was said to me later on, but at that time, that's what I was kind of going through. You take that environment, because it needs to be organic. Mm-hmm. So you take whatever is being presented to you and you make that application in the moment. So I think, yeah,
it's amazing. It's just because the development over time with the character, which is what I love about theater. You had a chance, and so one thing I didn't like about when I started doing film work, you don't have the time. You have a very short shoot schedule, so you have to be in the character, and once it's up on film and when it's done, and you look at it and you say, oh my gosh, I could have done this better, that better. But on stage, especially when you do a long run, I know for me, my characters developed over time, especially with Bernardo, even Rocky. When I would do Rockies, after a couple of years of doing it, I was locked in. The character was locked in. I could go right into it. Yeah. Same thing with Bernardo. I was able to go right into Bernardo because I understood the character. I did it several times, the TV version and the stage version of it. But so I'm thinking that you might say the same thing about Pearl. And when you went on stage for the first time, let's go to that first time you went on as Pearl. opening night. Can you take everyone to opening night? Went through the rehearsals, went through the whole process of that, and then now it's opening night. And give us where you were emotionally, everything that was going on. I want us to feel what it was like. Let's say right before you got the half-hour call. What were you doing right before the half-hour call?
I'm going to be so raw and honest.
Let's do it. Come on.
Because, we had 12 weeks of 10 out of 12s.
Mm-hmm. Oh, gee.
And, within that time, especially like a week or so before, you're trying to find your fit out for opening night. I had 10, 12 people coming up to the, people are sending the flowers and the By the time, for me, and I think there'd be a lot of people, you are so running on adrenaline. It's just got through. I'm sure there's performances before opening night that were much better than opening night. And I'm sure, not to say the opening night was bad, I'm sure it was great because we didn't close or anything. So, but it's the actual performance itself for me. I wasn't in the moment. It was still kind of euphoric and ethereal. I knew my mother was out there. My grandmother was out there. At the time, I didn't put this together. Their name is Pearl. Both of them my grandmother's first name is Pearl. My mother's middle name is Pearl. I'm not putting that together. I'm just feeling this euphoria and this very ethereal, very just energies, as opposed to I don't remember the response. I know everybody got up and applauded and standing ovation and everything. But the actual, what I put out there on that stage, like I say, it's a much more, it's not as concrete as I would be able to describe.
Yeah. I remember when we did the reunion, we were at the reunion when all of us were there. I think it's the beginning of 2020 or end of 2019. The thought that I got, and I just had it again, if I knew how important those moments were, I would have paid a lot more attention. And it sounds like, because I could only imagine, because I typically never remembered being on stage. I would click and I go into a role. Once it would start, I was in the show, and that was it. I never remembered anything. The applause, it was over, then we go off. So I could relate to that feeling, especially on opening night, and I can't imagine doing 10 out of 12s. I think everyone I would imagine everyone was basket cases crazy at that time.
We'd have to do an underground something, because there was a lot of drama going backstage, and like I said, this set was this was the first time they ever done the Kong Bridge. This is before Germany. Yeah. So and we had that turntable in the middle.
Yeah. And this is why I say this is a hero's journey, because the 10 out of 12s will take you to the abyss, to dark places. And I think this show, as when you're on stage, you have the lights, the makeup, the action, you have all the stuff, the spectacle of it. And I think the heart of any show is the backstage leading up to it, and the moments of real life, of humanity. And I think that's what makes anyone that goes on stage or performs live so unique, because a lot of people think that talent that go on stage are not experiencing life the way the normal person does, and the drama, the humanity of life, the ups and downs. And so 12 weeks of 10 out of 12s. I mean, people cursing and doing ugly things. People, the most ugly of us comes out after 1 week of 10 out of 12s. And so, and I
Builds that
think,
character.
yeah, and I think that this is what's important about this round coming around with us sharing. I want people to see the humanity of it, and that we got the makeup, we got the voices, we got the talent, we got the ography, staging, lighting, but the heart of us as human beings and what we're going through at the moments that really define the power of the human spirit. And in this case, the human spirit in Starlight Express, this show, because it's unique. And it was, I mean, there was no character. Well, maybe London had Pearl, so maybe had something to look back on that, but not the American version of it. And, and also you being a black performing artist, a female going into that role, and then expressing that aspect of that character from who you were or are. And so I think there's so much there. So I can only imagine what might have been going on in your heart at the time. And I appreciate that it's hard to reflect back there and go to that moment that I think is a defining moment, going on stage as a first time ever in a lead role, as a young woman, a black young woman performing on Broadway for the first time, and then experiencing all that. And so I do appreciate that. So,
well, it was because I don't want to get the impression that was as heavy as other things, because those other things are much more heavier, just the safety factor. I mean, we had to go to the union and have some conversations as a cast.
Mm-hmm.
There was two different instances, and I can't remember if this was during previews. I want to say it was during previews. Well, the first time, this was during rehearsals, 10 out of 12s. And the center turntable?
Yep. Yes.
Well, it had two, if this is the top of it, it had two flaps that came up like this. And it would say on there, 10, 9, 8, 7, do the countdown and all that, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if this is the middle, the flaps would go up like that. And so as it rotated, you could see the information.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm not quite sure how this is supposed to be called, but you have to call them separately.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, the first time they called it wrong, and we're supposed to skate over it, and then it's called and it comes up behind us.
Right.
And we come back around and skate through the gate to win the race.
Mm-hmm.
But they called it too soon.
Mm.
And the time it takes it goes up this fast.
Mm.
Myself and Ken are skating cross. John Napier, stop. I literally had 1 foot up on the lip of the top of the turntable.
Mm.
And Ken Art was almost like, straddled down and I'm holding on his belt. He's Electra.
Oh my gosh.
And he pulled me up on top of the thing, and then they brought it back. Oh, sorry, Peter.
That was perfect timing.
And they brought it back down, and I remember John Napier running down the aisle saying, "You got to get these cues right. This can cut a cow in half."
Mm.
Okay, well, I heard that. So, you've got all and things like, for me, things like that. That's an imprint.
Mm.
I'll never forget that.
Yeah.
And then during previews, someone did a bad call and called the flaps up at the same time. And the entire plexiglass of the deck was ripped up. So all you heard was this loud crunching sound. And the thing was trying to push up, but all the way up the bowls, all that came up.
Oh my goodness.
So they had to stop the show. And our little stage managers and crew and tech, they came down with the drills and drilled it back down and all that. And we were able to continue. We just didn't use the turntable again. So all that I'm saying, all those two things to say that it was such a new adventure.
Hmm.
There were just things that there was just so much,
Yeah.
this one little thing might have caught my attention or got me a little irritated or done this, and then all of a sudden it's that. Oh my gosh, or is this? Oh my God. But that safety thing was something that,
Mm.
I
Yeah,
tell the young ones
I
now.
really thank you for sharing that because it's the danger of the show is I think even with someone that watches it, like the audience members that were there on that one occasion where the stage was ripped up, and I know we've had situations where cues were wrong, and I end up not breaking my elbows, but when they just made the cue wrong on our ramp on the
Mm-hmm.
profile when it came up, and we were skating, yeah, and the three Rockies, we all fell off, but I was at the top end, and my skates hit, and I ended up falling
Mm-hmm.
into the bowl and hyperextending both elbows, and that put me out for
Mm-hmm.
several weeks. But yeah,
Okay.
you're
What?
you're you're right on this idea of opening night, especially with and now. So this is what I love about this and what you've just done. You brought me back to because I never did the Broadway show. I never
Mm.
went through the process you went through, and I know what you went through. They learned a lot, and a lot was learned about the set. Let's say for the German set and also for the U.S. tour, and but at the expense of you guys, of the talent and everyone that was involved, those of you that were actively on the set, and then those of the technicians. I can only imagine. I know we had one of our actors broke their leg in three spots in rehearsals because the set wasn't designed right. They had to we had to postpone opening for a month so they could rebuild the set. And I could only imagine what it felt like. I knew what it felt like for Mark. Mark is the one that broke his legs in three spot. Mark Hogarth, our flat top. And
Wait, which cast was this? Which
this was
production?
the first cast for the German production when we
Okay.
were
Okay.
in Bochum, Germany. And when he broke, everyone was heartbroken on that. Without
Mm.
question, Mark, his career as a dancer ended that day. But I also the technicians, Mark Davis, who was our skate coach at the time, everyone felt horrible, especially people that designed the set. They had to
Yeah.
live to this day. Remember that they were part of that moment that changed the life of Mark. And I've spoken to Mark, and Mark remembers that, and his life. He loves where he is right now, and he sees how it all makes sense now. But at the
Mm-hmm.
time, as you well know, and I think it's important. Again, I think that's part of the great story of Starlight Express and the talent. Now, every show has their journey, and these are heroes' journeys for every single show out there, not just Starlight. But I think that you just shared that moment, opening night, where you would assume that should be the most beautiful moment. You're a beautiful young lady. You have this. You're gonna be a lead in the show. You're going out there. You're gonna have people out there watching you, celebrating it. But yeah, you're thinking of, my gosh, I just hope we don't, the safety of this, and we've already seen what the possibilities of what could happen. And I know you guys had injuries. You had injuries, and so one of my
That's
questions.
another thing I want to kind of tap on real quick. I'm sorry
Yep,
to interrupt you
go for it.
about the injuries situation and what I learned from those veterans. Well, they're not veterans, but remember I was saying I was the only one on the principals that had not done anything on Broadway.
Hmm.
And what I learned from the veterans, um, there was a young lady who she broke her ankle.
Hmm.
Now, I don't think that a lot of the other, well, I don't know, I'm not going to speak for them, but she broke her ankle, but she was out. She's like, but I'm going to be there for opening. And she was doing all her Marianne Lamb. I don't know if you can
Yep.
use the name, but Marianne Lamb. I
Yeah,
learned
Marianne
so
Lamb.
much from that young lady. and she was fierce, Volta.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know how long she was out before, but she was there at opening with the brace on her ankle doing the show as if she had no injury whatsoever.
Mm.
And she did that, and I think she might have done another show or two, and then she went off. Not to say that you should sacrifice, staying healthy or whatever, but to me, that type of work ethic where she was injured, she did as much therapy as she could, she kept everything together and did whatever she was supposed to do until she got to opening night. She made that opening night, and I just really respected her for pushing through like that. Now, a lot of people would say, well, that could injure her. It can injure you for the rest of your life, but if you know how to take care of yourself and doing the proper therapy and making sure you protect yourself as much as you can,
Mm-hmm.
I just respected her for that and that work ethic. And a lot of them were like that.
Yeah. Yeah, I would agree.
Not say you should come in and work when you have a bad injury or whatever. That was a special occasion, but they just still had that type of work ethic,
Yeah, I remember Arlene, one of the things Arlene said in this last live is that, where she is, we're all now further down, years past from those moments. And she said something along the lines that just how much she respected every single Starlighter that went on that stage and the hard work that was put into it, the sacrifices. And you could see, and she said this through tears.
Mm.
And I get emotional about it as well because many of us, we all went through this. And this is one thing that I think George Livings, he did Rusty, one of the Rusties, and I interviewed them last week, him and his wife, who both did the show. He says that we may have never met, but if we found out you did Starlight, we're also now brothers and sisters because we all know. No one knows. Unless you went through the process, no one knows. And Starlight, all of a sudden now, I get the same thing in the jiu-jitsu world when as a Brazilian jiu-jitsu practitioner. When I meet someone who does jiu-jitsu, we know because unless you've been on the mats, you don't know. Same thing with Starlight. Unless you've been on that set, and there's something, if you went through the rehearsal process, due to injury or whatever, maybe you said, you know what, this show's not for me, I quit. That's one thing. But when you make it to the set, when you make it to the show, make it to your opening night, your first time on stage, there's nothing, we all have that we're brothers and sisters in that. And so, I want to go to you returning to Starlight, and you've done Pearl, and I'm curious the moment when you came back to Starlight and you were invited to come to Bochum and play Mama, and I'm curious on that moment and how did. Can you share with everyone how that, because where you started with it, it blows my mind. And I think we're talking about legendary, we're talking about part of a powerful legacy of Starlight, to have someone who started as a young lady, first time ever, now going through this journey and then coming back as Mama. And for me, that is so powerful. And that's one of the things I was so excited about this interview with you, as opposed to the last time we got together. I was so excited because this was Reva. Oh my gosh, I'm going to get together with Reva Rice. Oh my gosh. But I know, right? You're shading. So what are you talking about? But now to come back and speak to you because you went through this journey and now you're here being Mama. So can you share with everyone how you found out, how they asked you, who asked you, and what was your thinking at the time?
Well, first of all, I would have never thought that I would ever be doing Starlight again. And I was in Vegas doing a show called Vegas the Show. And I was coming up on the end of my 7th year with that show in Vegas.
Which was fabulous, which was amazing.
Oh, thanks.
It was amazing. But anyway, that's another story.
Yeah. I was having a good time. It was the first time I'd been working in Vegas consistently since I bought the house back when Starlight was in Vegas.
Mhm.
So I was loving being at home, going home to my own home, because I had been on the road for about 12 years before that with the house sitting empty. And so I was really loving my life at the time. And um, I can't pull up her name. She was on, oh my gosh, Peter.
It's all right.
It'll come to me. She sent me an email or not an email, a message on Facebook or something saying that, Reva, have you seen this? And it was some audition notice about Mama doing, Papa becoming Mama and some other things. And so I said, oh, well, this is, it's interesting. So then I called up Luann Maderma.
Mm-hmm.
And I asked Luann, I said, do you know, because Luann is very close with Arlene.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, do you know anything about this? I mean, is this just another cast changeover, or are they bringing in, everybody? Is Andrew coming in, and what's happening? And so she called back and says, yeah, everybody's on board. They're doing this new thing, and they're changing over the producing team. I think Really Useful Group took over the show or something. Mm-hmm. And they've invested, some dollars into the show. And I said, well, maybe I'll just, and I thought about it. I was like, because first, I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't want nobody messing with Starlight. Anyway, but I thought I could pull it off, though. I said, give them that Mahalia Jackson, Esterine Pearl Shields out there. Mm-hmm. Now, by this time, I've done other Broadway shows, so I'm a singer now.
Mm-hmm. Uh-huh. You'll put in your Sarah Vaughan's now.
Yeah, exactly. So I recorded. They sent me. I think Luann asked Arlene. Yeah, because Arlene says, well, does she really want to, And so I said, yeah. So they sent me the music for Papa, and I recorded myself singing in my hallway in my house and sent it back to them. And I think it was like around in June, because I was leaving in November, and I couldn't tell anybody until I had to wait to tell anybody. Because anyway, and it was a short time, and that they came back and said, yeah, why don't you come on over here to Germany, and we're gonna do this Mama thing. So now that's an interesting story now.
I would think so. Do tell.
Because, at my age, I was 58 at the time, and I'm a veteran principal character. Mm-hmm. There's a certain amount of respect that I expect due to what I bring to the table, which, yes. Mm-hmm. is making millions in this industry by carrying shows and being the lead in shows and, mm-hmm. That kind of thing. Unlike
when you were offered Pearl.
That's right. Yeah.
Thank you.
So I get there and we have a little bit of some issues. Mm-hmm. I had just also purchased an Airbnb in America before I knew I was leaving Germany. So I'm trying to run my Airbnb. And at this time, I just finished the refurbishings of the house. So I was up till 3-4 o'clock in the morning with contractors, and then have to get rehearsal at 8 o'clock over here in Germany. And yeah, but I didn't really think about that because I knew they start rehearsals in February to open in June. Well, mm-hmm. February, all that skate school and learning phonetics and mm-hmm. your German, right? And so I was not concerned about, I said, I got plenty of time to do this, So there was a couple of times where I think they thought that either I couldn't speak the German or learn the German, or was being lazy, or whatever they thought. Mm-hmm. And I kept telling them, I'm fine. I'm gonna, we're doing this. This is the rehearsal process. I'm not gonna be off book a month in. I'm not. I might not be off book in 2 months in. And then I'm used to theater structures where you're running the show, basically. You're kind of doing scenes and things where I hadn't seen Arlene or anybody. I saw John Napier, but I hadn't seen Arlene or, any of the creative team.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm trying to get my Airbnb, and sometimes I come in tired and miss some things. So they were concerned that I wasn't able to do the role.
Mm.
And I'm elderly. I say that with I'm kind of being facetious when I say that.
Okay.
I'm just not going to tolerate things, and then I would silently remove myself.
Mm-hmm.
And say, listen, this is not. I'm not going to. Oh, no, don't you worry about it. We're trying some things, yada yada yada. I said, okay. Finally, now Andrew is coming over. We're gonna run the show, and everything in the mama key is the papa key. I think. I mean, so I'm supposed to change. Mm-hmm. I'm singing now in a baritone music, mm-hmm. and at the same time, I don't want to sound like a young girl. Mm-hmm. So I'm trying to come up with this voice that's going to sound very majestic. Mm-hmm. And when I sing it, people are they're supposed to believe that there's a spiritual thing that's happening in them, Mm-hmm. So this was the kind of the first time for me with Starlight that I can really develop this character, Mm. And so this is only the second time that we're doing the scenes. Now, this is 3 months after, and it's the second time we're doing the scenes. I'm still making mistakes in rehearsals, but I'm in rehearsals. Mm-hmm. So that's when I make mistakes in rehearsals. Mm-hmm. Well, they took that as me not. Mm-hmm. Anyway, mm-hmm. Andrew and his entourage, they all come in that particular day. Now, this is only the second time we're doing the scenes. Mm-hmm. They get to my scene. Well, first when he walks in, now, and nobody really, they're taking this. The German production is taking this as a changeover. Mm-hmm. I'm down there. We're going into the dressing rooms, and I'm in the dressing room with 4 other girls that are, right out of college. And I have to say the building was a bit, it wasn't as clean as I would like for it to be. Mm. After 30 years of it was pretty bad. Wow. And so for me, now maybe people look at me like, oh, she's being a diva. And I'm like, well, yeah. Mm. So Andrew and his entourage, they all come in, and he walks into the room, and we're all kind of standing in a half, like a horseshoe shape. And I'm not standing in the center anywhere. I'm kind of over here to the side somewhere, And he comes in, he's kind of very reserved, Andrew, mm-hmm. Oh, hello. And he goes, Reva. And I walk over to the table, and, he's kissed my hand. He's like, welcome, so good to see you. And I was like, so good to see you too, So we start and that was it. It wasn't a big, it wasn't anything like that. It was just making that acknowledgement. Mm-hmm. We run the show, I do the scene, right? And then we do blues, and he says, can you, we're going to do, that was good. Can you go back and do the blues now? And I'm singing everything on the page. Once again, I'm trained from the ALW School of Music. Mm-hmm. You sing what's on the page. Yep. He says, in the second verse, kind of let it go, and, give me some of those money notes.
There you go.
Sang, hit that note at the end. Yeah, he's delighted. Go on with the show. We get to the sequence, and I sing the sequence. And when it was over, he was like, "That was good." I said, "What, Andrew?" I said, "It's so low." I said, "Is there any way we can? I don't know. We can." He goes, "Yeah." That's when he gets up from the table, and he sits down at the piano, and he looks at the musical people, and he goes, and it's bringing back memories for me, because we used to sit at the piano for hours and kind of talk about Make Up My Heart and Next Time You Fall in Love, and And he looks up at them. He says, we're going to hold the D. Just hold the D for her. We hit it. Only you, or do I, whatever it was, and I hit it. And, you know, you could feel the energy in the room just, and I'm thinking to myself, that's okay. Mama's about to be born. Mama's about to do this. So, I forgot to tell you this. Back when Arlene came, they had a meeting with me because they were going to start auditioning other mamas. Now, I took that as if, oh, y'all think I can't speak German. You think I can't learn 12 lines? Okay. So then when Arlene said that, I said, well, you know, and I got up and I said, well, Arlene, I'm not here to understudy or cover anybody. And so she grabbed my arm. She said, no, you just keep doing what you're doing. Well, I didn't realize they were having trouble with my cover, who had a broken arm. And I don't really want to say because But in my mind, when we're doing all this, I'm thinking they're trying to replace me because these people have gone back and told them that I can't speak German. So after we did the run through there in the studio and we changed the key and everything, he says, now let's put you on a microphone and try this out in the house. So I put the microphone on, but I have it in my head about this audition that happened that morning. So I came in hearing other women singing. So I have a little bee in my bonnet. So when we came on the set, him and Arlene were over there and I came on over here with an obvious attitude. It wasn't, but it definitely wasn't. It was definitely, let's get down to business and let me see what you all are doing here. And he looks up and he over me, he goes, Reva. So we come over and we go into a little room and he asked Arlene to give him and I a little privacy. And he says to me, well, you know, they said that you couldn't learn the German, but I mean, you did a brilliant job and they don't know what happened. They thought that you just, you know, all of a sudden studied overnight. And I'm thinking to myself, I was studying the whole time. Just because they don't see me studying doesn't mean I wasn't. But they're used to dealing with people right out of college. You know, everybody has a process, especially when you deal with people who have been doing theater or been doing anything for 20 or 30 years. They're going to have a process. Yeah. And my resume should have spoken for my process. Right. But they didn't understand that. And that's fine. Everything happens for a reason. And so we're in the room there together, him and I, and he's like, but you're amazing. And you know, I don't know what they think about that, but I thought it was brilliant, you know. He says, but I just want to let you know that the team is back. I said, yes, Andrew, I don't know why they would think that. And the team is back. And so we went out there and they put me in the mic and I went to sing, and the whole cast, everybody's out there, all a really useful group. I hit that, do a line, and his head just went back and everybody. And then his different people were coming up talking to him. And I'm just kind of observing this a little bit. And he kind of puts his hand up, walks all the way around the theater to the other side to listen. And then he comes back around. He says something about the workshop. And I said, well, you know, I was around for the workshop. He says, well, we didn't know where you were. And I just grabbed his little cheeks and says, well, I'm just glad to be here. And then from that moment on, things changed and they understood why I was there. They understood who I was being there. And there was a little thing about the dressing room situation, but I won't go into that, but they sorted that out right away. And from then on out, I kept the show open for 8 years because they were going to close the show, I think, a year or two before I got there. And so, yeah, that was the kind of the challenges there.
Well, you know, I thank you so much for sharing that because, you know, as you were sharing that, it reminded me of the times when I did Starlight in Bochum, and there was such a learning process for the German team, you know, the producers, because, you know, moments where very insecure, they didn't know what was going to happen, whether this was going to be a success or not, and they wanted we all want guarantees that things are going to work. And as you were sharing, it's like they wanted a guarantee, but they failed to which they did many times, and they learned from it. And I know I've already shared it before. Renee and I, we actually end up taking them to court. We went into court for the contracts, and so, and we actually won. The judges threw the contracts out, and because what they were doing was unfair, and the judge said it was unfair. He said these contracts were not fair. So because of that situation, Stella Musicals at the time learned how to deal with New York performers coming from the United States. We were equity, you know, we're professional actors. They brought us over in this, and we were used to a certain way of being treated as talent, as professional talent. And they learned that, and it was a learning curve. I remember when they hired us back, I remember I was called into the office, and Angelica brought me in, and great respect for all of them. And she said that, Peter, I hope there's no bad feelings. And there wasn't any bad feelings. I understood. This was business. I understood at the time. We took it personally, and we should have taken it personally, what they did. However, we went to court. We won. They learned. We left Germany after that. They called us back, and I'm in the office with Angelica, and she says that I hope we learned a lot from that, and I hope there's no bad feelings. I said, no, none at all. And there never was since then. But it was a learning process. And so I hear with you right now, you coming in, they failed to recognize who you were and what you've been through, and the work that you've done, and that you know who you are and what you need to do to when the lights go up, curtain goes up, it's showtime. You turn it on. You have your voice. And
when I said about the resume, I deserve the benefit of the doubt.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
You know.
Yes.
It's like
it's not. I don't think it's a deserve, even though it's the right word. I think you've earned it.
Yes.
You earn it, and there's right now. I work with a lot of seniors because I went through that process. You know, I'm going to be 65 to this usefulness at my age, because there's this ageism out there that I know it is happening, and I recognize that other people my age are experiencing this sense of use. People recognizing them as not being useful, which is wrong. And so I'm helping them, and I'm seeing that where they don't recognize someone's work, and that just because they're at a certain perceived age, that they don't bring this value, this, like you said it earlier, you bring what you're bringing to the table, and that was what you've learned. I mean, you could take something within seconds and give it something of value that no one, I don't care how talented you are. I mean, you've got talent, but it's not the talent. It's the seasoning. It's the years,
work ethic.
The work ethic, but behind that, it's the years of experience, the wisdom that only comes through living the life. That's it. That's it. And I think that's what's amazing with the work, and that's why I love that you're doing the work that you're doing. It's phenomenal, and I cannot tell you how much I respect you and all of us that are still in the picture, and being proud of the work, who we are, and standing up and not being ashamed of it, just being proud of the work. We're still here, and we know what our value is. And we know what we bring to the table. I say that all the time. This is what I'm bringing to the table. And so we say that with honor, respect, and not only for ourselves and the work that we've put into it, but there are many people that are standing on, and I'll say it, standing on our shoulders. The young people that are going into the show. And so I do want to ask you about the young people and what you would share with them, but I want to reflect and talk about the family and talk about those that we've lost, and go into the community. It's a very special community. Starlight is a special community. And I quote that from what Arlene said, special community. And over the years, we've lost some beautiful people, some very, very, very young. And if we can maybe give them some honor, and those that and who are no longer with us, What would you want to say to them today about, what you've learned in your journey with Starlight, with them, and what you know of them? What would you say to them today?
Well, I would say to them today, those who have gone, that it was such an honor to be in their presence. Man, I really feel special because I was in their presence, that I was allowed to be affected by them. And if, back in the 80s, that's when the AIDS epidemic was going rampant
Yes.
through the world. And we lost 5 guys that year.
Mm.
Barry Bernal really he sits in my car because he called me on Halloween and passed that evening.
Mm.
And, we would have people come in with a cold, and 2 weeks later, they're not with us anymore.
Mm.
So I would say to them, thank you for allowing us to be in your presence, and that their presence here will always be affecting all of us. I see different things in Starlight that, that's Barry Bernal from, that's such and such used to do that. And that's what we went out and had drinks with such and such. And, so there's a lot of, the way we partied back in the day.
Mm.
And our wonderful dressers on Broadway were just like family members.
Mm.
So I would just, and they taught me a lot too, as being a young performer back during the Broadway days, of how that works, how the relationships work backstage, So yeah, I would say that I'm very thankful that I was able to experience time with them.
Yeah. Yeah.
I try to tell the young people, because it's very different, and I try to be as compassionate to the young people, but I don't believe in soft discipline and stuff. I don't think that's, now me coming from being a single woman, no kids, I just feel like the way people are giving instruction nowadays is just too mediocre is acceptable. Below average is acceptable. Well, not if you're working with people that don't accept that.
Mm-hmm.
And I make that very clear with young people that I come across, that I'm not coming down there. And I know it's going to be to your advantage to come up here.
Yeah. Yeah. That's great. It really talks about this idea.
Yeah, and the only way to do that, like with especially with Starlight, I said the only way to do that, I tell the kids all the time when they come in, I said the only way to do that is to come out of your comfort zone.
Mm-hmm.
This is not going to be easy. There are going to be times it's not going to be fun. Mm-hmm. But that's necessary. There's no growth in comfort, Mm-hmm. So understand that once you get to the other side of this, you'll be unstoppable. That's how I became a lead, a singer, because I had to come out of my comfort zone and go, I don't know if I can do this, but hey, let's, yeah, that was hard today. That's why I'm gonna come back tomorrow and do it even better. Not, that was hard, I don't know if I can, no, you can, you just have to. So I tell young people, I just feel like the more straight discipline that you get, it implements quicker. I don't believe in this, well, just have a rest. No, you need to build those muscles. So let's do this. I know it hurts. Do a little stretch, throw a little ice. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. Now come on. Let's go. You're only 12. Come on. Mm-hmm. Especially being 65, and I'm looking at them like, what you huffing and puffing for?
Yeah, I hear you.
And then it's entertaining to me as an old person with the young people too.
Yeah, that's great. Well, I think that's great advice. I think I talk a lot about resilience, and the only way to become more resilient is to go through tough times and don't shy away from tough times. And just because something's hard doesn't mean you don't do it. It just means you get harder. and get
That's right.
tougher and get more resilient. So I love that advice. That answers my question. What would you want the young people to understand about being part of a show like Starlight Express? I think that's it. Toughen up,
Yeah.
and if you're not tough, get tougher. If it's hard, you get harder. And come.
And
I like your idea of I'm not going to go down there. I want you got to come up here because this is where you're going to grow here.
and repetition,
Yeah,
repetition.
iteration,
Michael
iteration,
Jordan,
repetition.
all your greats, they're not great because they're great. They're great because they put in the effort to be great. You know,
Yep. Right.
I tell people, come to work. You got to come to work. So
Mm,
I just don't feel you need to come to work.
yeah.
And that's another thing I'm telling them now as a senior citizen. I have a wonderful retirement
Mm,
because I came to work every day, because I built up those pensions and social securities and investments. When you don't come to work, they don't pay you.
mm, y-
So along with you learning this resilience and you learning this discipline, you also are building your safety net. So when you become 65, you can still go jog the park.
mm,
You can still not have to be on medications.
mm, yeah.
You can not worry about, I don't care. I was ready to retire before I came over here to
Mm-hmm,
Germany.
mm-hmm,
I really was kind of like, well, this is fun, but I think I need to just,
mm-hmm,
and I set myself up for that because I was able to go to work every day to
mm-hmm,
generate enough of a savings and 401ks and whatever your investment portfolio looks like.
mm-hmm,
You can't do that if you don't go to work and make that paper.
mm-hmm, yeah.
So
Truth.
I slipped that in there to the young people too. I said, and this is the other thing I say to young people. There's a lot of people in the world that are doing jobs they don't want to do because they have to do them to sustain.
Mm-hmm,
People that are in the theater and entertainment, we choose this because we want to do it.
yeah.
So,
That's
like
truth.
my
I love
dad
it.
used to tell me, a fool can make a good day out of a good day. It's easy to come in and do a fabulous show one night. Can you do a fabulous show seven nights a week, 6 nights a week?
Mm-hmm,
That's the craft,
yeah. That is.
you know.
I love it. I love it.
So
Now, Reva, I thank you so much for sharing that. And my last question to you, and I really do appreciate you spending this time with me. It's just amazing,
I've
and
enjoyed it. It's really been fun and kind of like makes me really appreciate
yeah,
what I've been a
yeah,
part of.
yeah. And I appreciate you, and my prayers that you do appreciate everything that you've done where you are right now. And talking about that as you continue your journey as an artist and a performer, what are some things that excite you most about the work you're doing now? And share what lies ahead for you.
What I'm most excited about the work I'm doing now is that I can do what I'm doing at this age. People make you feel, I know I did. I was scared about aging and what, as a female, I'm supposed to be this and that and this and that. And I'm really realizing that it really is a decision that one should make for themselves that they find peace in. And so I love the fact that I'm doing something that not only do I just love the hell out of it, I just love skating that set. It keeps me healthy. It keeps me disciplined. It keeps me, if I know that if I, eat too many chips or too much ice cream or whatever, it's not going to allow me to do what I do.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm so thankful that it's kept me, a lot of my friends, they can't sit on the floor and get back up.
Yeah.
Or walk upstairs or, things that I think are just, that's what you do. You walk up the stairs,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then what's ahead of me, I am looking forward to retirement.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I am going to go to every skate party that because over the years, I've never been able to really go to a lot of skate parties around the country. And in America, there's skate parties everywhere. And now all the skate people my age, we are just living our best lives at these roller rinks. They're playing our music. See, a lot of times for a long time, I go to the roller rinks and they're playing all this I'm sorry, but the young people nowadays, their music is terrible.
Mm.
You know, they're playing music that I grew up with, you know, 70s and 80s music, and I can go and get my roll on. So I'm really looking forward to this retirement phase. It just looks fun. It just looks, during the COVID, gave me a little taste of what that would be like, because we were off for 2 years from over here during COVID. I loved not having a schedule. I loved not having to just go with your whim, whatever you want to do, just do it. And
yeah, I see. I hear you. That's
freedom.
That's exactly what my retirement looks like. And
Yeah.
you go to roller rinks, and I'm going to jiu-jitsu schools. I'm gonna throw my gi, my uniform into the back of my van, and I'm just going to travel around the United States and just jump to schools. I have friends all over the place. I have schools, and I just jump in and get a roll in just to get it. And my goal is to get a T-shirt. I want, so get a T-shirt at the school. I want to roll with them, and roll means like grapple and spar with them, and I love doing that, and spar with an old guy. I said, come spar with this old guy. Just don't if you try to beat me up, I'm gonna have to hurt you.
Right? I got some tricks
But I love it.
I got some tricks up my sleeve.
Oh yeah, I got them old man tricks that the young people don't know about. It'll take them 50 years to learn. So
See? And I'm also trying to get me a little piece of land in Portugal.
Oh, nice.
So while I'm here, because I don't know what's going on with the country in America. I'm a little concerned. So
it'll be all right. It'll be all right though. It'll be all right.
Yeah.
It'll be all right. Yeah. It'll be all right.
Okay.
It'll be good. It'll be good. It'll always be good, no matter what knuckleheads in there. So it'll always be good. But Portugal is beautiful. I mean,
and they have, I grew up in the country with horses and chickens and all that kind of stuff, and I really want to retire like that, have a place where I can, and
you might have
live
to.
off
You
the
might have to
land
create
and
your
be off
own.
grid.
You might have to create your own and build your own skating rink, and maybe I remember you spoke about that before about
That's in the
how
plan.
to create a skating rink and just make it a
because that's what I was thinking. If I'm in Portugal, I wouldn't know where to go skating. I said, well, I'll just build me a skating rink.
There you go. Yeah, make it a big thing. Well, thank you so much. I love that you were able to get together with me today, and I just thank you so much. Appreciate you.
Well, thank you, and please continue. This is amazing what you're doing, Peter. So I appreciate the fact that you're archiving our family.
Yeah, and it's an honor, and I want to make sure I do it with honor and respect, and with truth and heart and compassion and empathy. And so thank you so much. All right.
Take care, my friend.
Living strong is away. Time away. Living strong is just a tap away. Tap away. Living strong is just a tap away. Tap away. Living strong is just a tap away. Just a tap away. Just tap away. No more drifting day to day. You can choose a better way. Clear your mind, don't hesitate. This is your moment, don't be late. Living strong is just a tap away, tap away. Living strong is just a tap away. Living strong is tap away, tap away. Living strong is just a tap away, tap away. One tap away. Living strong. Living strong.